The Transformation Motivation is a weekly podcast featuring people that have made extraordinary transformations within their health and fitness journey, and maybe even their life. The podcast is an opportunity for real-life transformation stories to discuss their story for others to relate to. Too many times, there are people with these social media transformation stories that have doctored up photos, so we want to highlight real people with real stories people can relate to. We'll get insider strategies, tips, step-by-step of how they did it, and challenges they faced along the way. Now, get ready for the Transformation Motivation Podcast.
What's up, party people, and welcome to the Transformation Motivation Podcast. And I'm so excited that you've joined today. As always, I have a special guest for you guys today that's going to give you guys some insight to his story. My man Jordan is a special guy, and I wanted to bring him on because every story is different, and every story is packed full of not only great content but some deep-seated things that you may be dealing with as well that can help you along on your journey and in your process. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to my man Jordan. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So you always look at people's before and after pictures and you're like, I wonder who that person really is. Their lifestyle and do they have the same struggles that I have? A lot of people think that they're on an island. So it's like, I bet that person doesn't have 2 jobs like I have or 5 kids like I have. But, so I'm going to give you the floor, man. Let's let everyone know who you are, where you're from, what you do, and all that good stuff.
Gotcha, cool. My name is Jordan. I'm from Newburgh, New York. I've been here for pretty much my whole life. I'm actually in the military, 10 years in the Air Force, so I'm a veteran. Yeah, man, I just love fitness, love work, love my kids, just a regular everyday guy.
Gotcha. Okay. So where do you say you were from originally?
I'm out of Newburgh, New York.
Okay.
So it's about an hour outside the city.
Gotcha. So like everybody, I know that everyone, when you say New York City, they always reference like how far are you from, like when you say New York, I always want to know how far are you from New York City? Like that.
I'm on a train about an hour and 20 minutes, riding maybe an hour and a half, get to Manhattan. So it's not too far.
Gotcha. That's cool. Yeah, we took a vacation and to Connecticut.
Okay.
We go through New York, on our way back down to here to Charlotte.
Yeah.
And we went through some outer skirts of New York, and I'm like, this doesn't remind me of New York.
Oh no, this everybody thinks you live in New York, you live in the city, but nah, the state is pretty big. So yeah, we're not in the city.
Oh, it's just a large concentration of folks that live in the city. Not everyone. Okay, so tell us about your journey, man. Tell us about. I want to get in depth to how you got to where you were. Like I said, you look at photos before and after, and you draw assumptions and like give us the whole story.
Okay, so all right, so I guess it started. I was always into the gym. I was mainly trying to get into powerlifting, so I was bulking up, putting on a lot of weight, trying to get to that 450, 500 on the bench and your squat, and trying to go that route. And I joined the Gold's Gym Fitness Challenge at the beginning of the year in January. So I was like, it's perfect time for me to lose a couple pounds, get more in shape, just be more fit overall. But it wasn't until I got on the scale, because I don't even own a scale at the time. I got on the scale and I was 262. So for me, that was ridiculous. I've never been that heavy in my life. And like I said, I never owned a scale. So I didn't know how far off I was or how heavy I was at that point. So at that point, it was kind of like a wake-up call. It really struck me because, in the family, we have a couple, health issues, and diabetes is kind of a big deal. And I at that point, I was like, I got to take it serious. So I started the challenge. I got a trainer. He told me we got on a meal prep. I started counting my calories. I started with 2,200 calories a day. So I did that for about 3 weeks. I started to see the weight come down a little bit, about 5 to 10 pounds in the first week or two. So at that point, I was kind of motivated because it's like, hey, when you actually jump on the scale and you see the difference, you're like, you know, I can keep going. So that's exactly what I did. I just kept it going. I plateaued around week 4, week 5. And again, it's like a 12-week challenge. So around week 4, week 5, I kind of plateaued. So I brought it down from 2,200 to about 1,800 calories a day. I'm still in the gym, I want to say 4 or 5 times a week. I'm still doing my everyday lifting, but I added more cardio. I started taking spin, like RPM and your bicycle classes. So I guess the main thing was just counting calories, just staying in the gym, eating clean. Stopped drinking alcohol. That was a really big thing. No alcohol, really, I think probably did it for the first 20 pounds. So I'm halfway through.
You said no alcohol. So alcohol is your thing.
Yeah, I love beer, man. We were brewing our own beer, and it was just it was a lifestyle. So for me, it was real lifestyle change when I stopped drinking and put it down. My friends didn't understand at first, but now they see the difference when they look at me like I get it. But it's kind of hard to tell people like I'm not gonna eat this, I'm not gonna drink, I'm just gonna stick to my diet and come off. It was ridiculous. So I want to say in the 12-week challenge, I lost 40 pounds from January to March. So at that point, I was just motivated to keep going. So that's why I just kept going. Now I'm down, I want to say 57 pounds. My goal is to get to 200. Okay. So once I get to 200, I mean, we'll start a new goal, but it really starts with just watching what you eat and being consistent. That's really it. People ask me how I got to this point, and I tell them every day, it's not, I don't want to say it's not difficult because it is. It's a mind thing. You're used to eating your snacks and your soda and you're going to fast food restaurants, but it's really about consistency. Once you buckle down and be like, hey, I want to get these pounds off of me, that's exactly what's going to happen. And I tell people it's simple if you put your mind to it. So that's pretty much how I got to this point.
Gotcha. So, yeah, you said the elimination of alcohol. I'm just going to go back to that, man, just because you said something that was really, I mean, alcohol was a lifestyle for you. Yeah. Like that was a lifestyle. But in knowing what your goals and your priorities were aligned with now, like your values, it's not like your values changed. No. Like you valued health more than you valued drinking beer every night.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so with that being the case, to realign yourself properly, something's got to go, or something's got to minimize.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you went from brewing it, like you got the equipment,
everything,
in the garage or in another room.
Got everything. Got the burners. We was doing it all. But I mean, and I love IPAs. I'm a big fan of craft beers. Like it's a whole scene right now too, because everywhere is like a million breweries, and it was like a thing. We go hit a couple of breweries, have a couple of beers, and then just relax. But I was working out just to drink beer, I felt like. So losing weight, I was gaining weight. I was just big. It was just, you know what I'm saying? So I realized I had to do it. It was like, let me just put it down for a little bit and see what happens.
Gotcha.
I'll tell you, once I let it go, I don't even think about it no more. It's not even like I miss it. It's just you have a different lifestyle now. And I tell people it's a lifestyle change. If you want to lose weight and you want to become more fit, it's a complete lifestyle change. It's not a diet, because I feel like diets last. You know, you got a 2-week, you got a 30-day, you got a 6-week diet. But what happens after the diet's over? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I tell people. It's like, hey, it's a life. You got to redo your whole life. Look at what's important. And then once you do that, it's easy. It's downhill from there. But
Gotcha. So I did a whole, if you're on IG and well, you're on IG, but you know, for anybody that's listening, if you're on IG, I did a whole post on liquid calories and how liquid calories are like a killer.
Yeah.
And specifically alcohol. You know, my wife is in the same, I'm going to put her on blast, but my wife's in a category of she loves the taste of beer.
Yeah.
Which is probably like you. You probably like the taste of beer.
That's
I
good.
Can't stand the taste of beer. I don't drink. So it's not that I don't drink beer to be like this healthy guy. I just hate the taste of beer.
Yeah.
I know I'm probably weird to you. You're probably like, how can you?
I know plenty of people who don't like beer. It's acquired taste.
So yeah. All right. So give it up. So it sounds like we did, and I even did a live video about this addition by subtraction. So knowing that I need to eliminate certain things from my life in order to make this change, in order to make this leap. So addition by subtraction. So you wanted to add to a healthy life, healthy lifestyle. Now that you see the benefits of it, so now we have to subtract. We have to eliminate things in order to add to that lifestyle. Um, cool. So for you, you said you've reached 40 pounds, or how many? 57 pounds
I'm
lost
at
total.
57 right now. So
Okay.
yeah, I reached 40, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep going. So the goal is to get down to 200. So I need 5 more pounds, and that was my second goal. So at that point, I'll reassess. But yeah.
So let everyone know like where you're at. Like how tall are you right now?
Oh,
How
okay. I'm 5'9". I would say I have an athletic build now, but it wasn't always the case. So yeah, I'm 5'9". I have, athletic build. I'm at 205. My high was at 262.
Gotcha.
My low from high school days was about 10 years ago. I can remember being 160, 170.
Wow.
So it'll be, and that's the kind of frame I had. So to put on 260 is a lot of weight.
Yeah, that was you put the work in.
Oh yeah, it was. I'm telling you, the beers, man.
You put the work in to get there.
Yeah.
Like I remember graduating from college, I was like 120, and when I graduated, no, sorry, when I graduated high school, I was 120. Graduated college, I was 250, and I put work in to get there. I put some serious work in to get to that point. But it was well, a lot of it was bad calories initially because you don't know, and then it's like you change and restructure it as you learn and as you grow. But give everyone an idea of what's your typical week like as far as your training schedule,
Okay.
and then probably go into your nutrition, how that's laid out as well.
So I'll start with the nutrition. Usually I do it 2 days a week. Usually Sundays and Wednesdays I do my meal prep. Right now I want to say 6 ounces of my protein, which is I do a lot of chicken breast, salmon. I do seafood, like I do some shrimp. Every once in a while I have some steak just to get a different taste. I do 4 ounces of greens, which is mostly asparagus, Brussels sprouts. I do spinach, I do some kale. And then I also do a carb. I do brown rice, quinoa. I'll use sweet potatoes. So I'll do 4 of those, and 6 ounces of my protein. So I'll make that meal for lunch and dinner. And then usually Saturday or Sunday, whatever day I run out, is why I have something else. I'll eat in the morning. I wake up at 5:30, make 2 servings of oatmeal to get me started. Coffee, black, almond milk, no sugars. Then for the most part, I want to say I work out 4 to 5 times a week, depending on the schedule. But normal workout, I do say chest and tries one day, or back and legs another day, and then I make sure I always end it with at least 300 calories of cardio. Now, however long it takes to do the 300 calories, but sometimes I do 5, sometimes I do 6, but I always make sure I do the cardio before I end any kind of training session. So, gotcha. And like I said at the beginning, I do a lot of RPM too, spin classes, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. So minimum 300 calories you're looking at burn.
Minimum. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So you mentioned something that I want to kind of draw back to. You mentioned something initially with the program at Goals. They had you guys counting calories.
Yes.
So are you still taking that principle of counting calories, and are you logging calories or logging your food, or are you just looking at the weight?
When I initially started, I even had an app. I got a scale. I was dead serious. So I count them still, but I don't log them every day. When I first started, I logged them every day. I used, let me think of the app. Oh, My Plate. So you'll go in there, you put in how many calories you burn. So say you had a meal, 2 pieces of chicken breast, some asparagus, whatever. Say it's 400 calories, and then it also syncs with your Apple Watch, and it'll subtract the calories you burned from the calories you intake. So my goal initially when I first started was to get more calories burned than I was actually intaking. So that was a goal initially, and it seemed to be pretty easy in the beginning.
Gotcha.
But now, I mean, I still count my calories. I'm just not as anal as I was. But
Gotcha.
in the
And do
beginning,
you
it
find,
was everything.
yeah, sure. And do you find it easier now to, I don't want to say eyeball, but kind of guesstimate? Like, okay, I had about this much after doing it for a while.
Oh yeah, 'cause I still cook all my meals at home, so I kind of have an idea of what the range is when you're dealing with your chicken, or say you want to throw something. Say you have something completely different that night, and have like a turkey burger. I'd be like, well, that's about 250. So I kind of eyeball things that way. I still weigh everything when I do my meal prep at the beginning of the week. So I weigh it. I weigh the chicken. If it's 6 ounces, it's 6 ounces. So I still do that. I only really eyeball something if I get it, like if I go out to eat, or if I pick up something or eat some at somebody else's house. I usually eyeball it that way. But if I'm cooking at home, I still weigh it the same. I still make sure everything is how I want it, and yeah. Until I get where I want to get, it's no holds barred. Everything's going.
And it's crazy because that's one of the key elements that I instruct clients on initially. Initially, the big game is figuring out what you're eating and trying to quantify it. I get a lot of people that they'll direct message me and they'll say, "Well, I don't know what's going wrong with my plan. I'm not their plan. Like they don't know what's going on with their weight, why it's not fluctuating, why it's not moving, why they're not losing any weight." And then they give me a list of all the things that they're eating, and I'm like, "Well, have you tried logging it to see how many calories, how many grams of protein, carb, fat?" Because until you actually quantify it and see it in the form of numbers, we're really just taking shots in the dark.
Exactly.
We're really just saying, "Oh, I had yogurt. I had turkey bacon, 2 slices." Well, I don't. How many grams of protein is that? I don't know. I don't have like MyFitnessPal programmed in. I mean, that might be the wave of the future, but right now I can't just. Let's see.
Exactly. And I tell everybody. I mean, people ask me all the time, and I tell them when it's really as simple math. Like if your lunch is 400 calories, your dinner is 4, that's 8, your breakfast is whatever, you have a couple of snacks, you do 1,700 try you good to go. Like it's just you have to track so that way you know where to adjust. If you don't know where to adjust, then it's not gonna work. But I mean, I log everything. I weigh myself every day too, so it's ridiculous, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, you actually see the numbers, you know how to make changes based on what you're doing on a daily basis, and you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't know it, then of course like I said,
Exactly.
we're doing shots at the dark, shots in the dark. So we talked about that. Yeah, let's go back to the very beginning. Let's talk about Jordan in the very beginning. Let's say that you had an opportunity to give yourself a piece of advice when you first started. What would that piece of advice, knowing what you know now, what would that piece of advice be to your older self getting started with the process?
First thing I would tell myself is definitely a journey. It took a while to get completely out of shape, so it's not gonna happen overnight. There's times where I was sitting there like, I don't think this is gonna work. But the problem is you don't realize you've been treating your body wrong for say 5 to 10 years or however long it might have been. So you consistently did everything wrong. Now when you consistently do everything right, you're gonna see the difference. So I think that was the main thing, because sometimes I'm like, I'll look at the scale and I wouldn't see it move because I didn't realize I plateaued. I didn't understand what that was. I just thought I was doing everything I was supposed to do and nothing was coming off. But going back to my former self, I was like, hey, it's not going to come off in one day. It's going to take some time, and that's exactly what happened. So I was able to figure it out over time. But initially, that's something I want to tell myself, like, hey, it's not going to happen overnight, because it definitely doesn't. And I would tell anybody that. You have to put in the work. It's consistency. That's the only thing. Be consistent and you'll be fine.
So it sounds like you struggle with that mentally, just trying to pull yourself to that place every single day.
It's tough because, like I said, you're used to a certain lifestyle that you've been doing for, say, 10 years. You've been having this specific lifestyle where you're going out, you're having your beers, you're hanging out with your friends, you're doing all these things. And then you're like, one day you decide you don't want to do that no more. It's kind of hard to just turn it off. So I'm at the point now where it's kind of off, but
Because your friends are calling you.
How old am I?
Your friends are calling you. They're like, dude, come on out.
Yeah. It's tough, especially during football season, because everybody, want to have a beer and watch the game. But I mean, I'll be at the game. I'm just not drinking. So it's just, I'm not eating what you're eating. Like, I'll bring my own food. So it got to that point, but you have to get to that point, because if you don't, you're not going to see any results. And that's kind of where I tried it before, and I was like, it's not working. But those were more of diets, and they had a plan. It's supposed to be a couple weeks, but it wasn't a lifestyle change. This has to be a lifestyle change if you want it.
And that brings up a good point about your circle and who you surround yourself with. If all your friends are drinking beer, guess what? You might be the person that's drinking the beer too.
Exactly.
Because they're going to encourage it along.
Yeah.
And I heard a speaker talk about that and how you don't have to necessarily eliminate them or bring your friendship to a hard stop.
Yeah.
It could be a soft pause.
Yeah. But what's great is the group of friends that I do have is now they see the change and they support it, and they actually doing the same thing. They in the gym with me. They doing the meal prep, so I'm happy that everybody caught on. My wife actually caught on. So like I said, it's contagious. When you see the change, it's like people want to be a part of it, and if you don't even know that you inspire people, like you think you're just living your life and you're making your changes, but somebody like you don't even know is paying attention. It's like, hey, look at this guy, lost all this weight, and they want to know why, and you just got to tell them, and then that's gonna change their life too. So it's just a cycle, man.
Cool. All right. Well, we're about to bring everything to a close.
Okay.
I really want to thank you, Jordan, for sharing your story, sharing with us some great insights. I think my biggest takeaway from everything that we talked about is, you consistently did everything wrong for so long. Now you have to readjust, and consistently do everything right for a long period of time as well. So consistently doing things right. That was one of my biggest takeaways, and kind of going back to the addition by subtraction thing. So eliminating the things that will hinder you from reaching that goal, just totally eliminate them.
Yeah, that's it.
And is there anything else that you want to leave all our listeners with today? Like, how would they be able to find you? Are you on social media, or give them all your info?
Okay, yeah. If you want to find me, I'm on Instagram, Jordan J Patterson _86. So yeah, I'm on there. I'm always posting, videos, just giving my little bit of inspiration to the world, trying to get everybody on track. Last thing I want to leave you with is, hey man, it's not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's gonna take some time, but you're gonna get there. That's all I can tell you, man. I didn't think I would get to this point. People used to tell me, hey, I used to tell people I want to have abs, and it was like completely unrealistic at that time. Like, you would never think it. And now when I show them the abs, they're like, oh my God. So it's like, you just got to believe. It's mind over matter, man. Just stick in there and you can knock it all out.
Cool, man. And again, like I said, I appreciate having you on. And you guys, thanks for checking out the Transformation Motivation Podcast. Check us out on iTunes. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast to get all the updates of the upcoming episodes. Also, check us out on YouTube as well. That way you can watch each episode. Look forward to seeing you guys next time. Connect with us on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Fit Emmett everywhere. I look forward to seeing you guys next time.
All right, man.